Have you had enough of corporate greed? Well, get ready for more. There just aren't enough blind actors in Hollywood. Mezco says you're getting too articulate. Everyone's favorite fighting Frenchman is coming to the boys. All this and more on Cutting Edge Hero Live. Welcome to Cutting Edge Hero! I am the Nerd King, Danny Stewart, laying it down for you all night, at least for the next hour-ish. And I am joined tonight by the incredible, the affluent, the beautiful Landon Felter. Landon, say hi to the nice people.
Hi, folks. I am sure as shit not affluent. And also, we sure as shit are going to go over an hour.
Yes, also our human relations specialist and fact checker extraordinaire Ben Stewart is in the comments tonight. Ben, I'm very happy you could tear yourself away from Stormlight Archive long enough to join us on the show. Katrina Stewart in the chat, what is up? That is my darling wife, and I am glad she is here as well. Landon, what is the nerdiest thing that you have done this week?
It has been just more One Piece.
Yeah.
I haven't been getting as much as I did in the last week because school has been really keeping me busy, but it's just been more One Piece in my downtime.
That's awesome. It is a huge hurdle to watch all of One Piece, and I commend you for it because it was I tackled it last year and it was a lot of work, but totally worth it. I weirdly got into a mobile game, and this is not an ad for Raid Shadow Legends if you thought that it was going to be.
I got scared, not gonna lie.
No, it's a game called Top Heroes, and I started playing it and got really into it. So that's kind of the nerdiest thing. I've dumped a bunch of time into it for no reason.
What is Top Heroes?
So it's like a it is just like this I don't even know what the term for it would be, but it's like a dungeon crawler with a like city builder attached to it. It's kind of fun. I mean, I'm almost burnt out on it. All of the like when you first start one of these mobile games, they throw a bunch of like free shit at you, and then they get you like playing it, and you get you build it up, and then you like really plateau. And I've reached that plateau where it's like you'd have to start spending money to get further in the game, and I'm not going to do that. So
you got the rush of progress, and now they're starting to cut you off.
Yeah.
Also, thank you, Deontay.
Yes, Deontay the Giant in the chat. Deontay, glad you are here. Sorry I couldn't catch your stream earlier. I was at the movie theater, but I'm sure it was awesome. And Billy Rhodes in the chat. We got some people that took last week off in the chat today. I appreciate that. Billy said the nerdiest thing he's done is currently recreating the... What does that say?
I think it's Kowloon.
Kowloon walled city in Fallout 4. Interesting. I bet that's a lot of work. You should also do it in Minecraft. I hear that it's got an incredible movie coming out. Ben says, I hit a stall in my One Piece at the end of Whole Cake and just kind of lost interest. It gets so good at Wano. You have to get to Wano because Wano is fucking awesome. Like that's, man, Wano is like fucking crack, man. Like you start on that, it's like you can't put it down. But yeah, this week we are going to be discussing Agatha All Along, episode 1 and 2. Penguin episode 1, Transformers 1, and what was the other thing that I said, Landon? It was the Thunderbolts trailer dropped. So we've got all of that to discuss, but before we do that, Landon, how about we talk about some news?
Oh, I'm always excited for news.
Just fire those bullet points at me. Welcome to Bullet Points. It's okay, Landon. We can't all be good at everything.
I just wish I was better at this.
It is your one job. Billy said, Kowloon, walled city. You guys need to brush up on your history of Hong Kong. Okay. I don't. Yeah, I don't know if that's a joke or if that's actually a thing. I don't know enough about Hong Kong. You're right, Billy. Thank you for pointing that out to me. I will amend that at my earliest convenience. In anime news, Dragon Ball Daima is getting its Japanese release in October, but we are getting a theatrical release of the first 3 episodes of the American dub here in the States. It will be in theaters November 11th, 12th, and 13th. So they did release this promotional image for it to remind you all 10th, 11th, and 12th in the theaters. Weirdly, I wrote down 11, 12, and 13. I don't know what's going on with me. But anyway, so for those of you excited about the Dragon Ball Daima release, I know that I am. You can catch it in theaters November 10th, 11th, and 12th. Hopefully, our local theater will have it. They did have My Hero's last movie, so maybe.
Yeah, our local theater's pretty good with the anime movies, so they should.
I'm pretty excited about this one. They're actually bringing back, and I forget her name, but the original American dub voice actor for young Goku. She's coming back to voice him for this series as well, so that's pretty exciting. But in comics news, Sonic the Hedgehog is going to be teaming up with the Justice League. So Thomas. So Sonic and his team are in doing a 5-issue limited run alongside the Justice League. It will be being written by longtime Sonic writer Ian Flynn, and we did get some preview images of the Sonic characters in the DC superhero costumes. So here we have Shadow as Batman, Sonic as the Flash. I forget the girl's name. Amy as Wonder Woman, and Knuckles as Superman. We also have Tails will be Cyborg as well. But yeah, so they're going to team up in DC Comics. Batman Day was on the 21st. I hope you all celebrated. Billy Rhodes said it's just like my Sonic fan fiction. It's interesting. I probably won't pick up the issues, but I might catch it on digital and read it. They did drop this teaser on Batman Day with a promo showing Shadow in the Batman costume, which I thought was really cool. So for Batman Day on the 21st, Mezco dropped a 5-point action figure series of the Batman 89 figures. We have not that one. We have an image right below it. There you go. We have an image here of it. So it is actually the 3 Batman figures. That's the Jack Nicholson Joker, the Michael Keaton Batman, and then one of the goons from the 89 movie. And then they're also releasing this 89 Batman Batmobile. The figures are sold together as a 3-pack. They're $49.99. You can get them on Entertainment Earth. And the Batmobile is $59.99. Nope, I have that backwards. The figure set is $59.99, and the Batmobile is $49.99 if you need to add those to your collection. Also, not to be Jody Lee Meredith in the chat. What is up, brother? Also, not to be outmatched by Mezco, McFarlane Toys also dropped a new part of their Batman multiverse line on Batman Day, and we can see that here. We've got Batman Noel, a really cool Batman Beyond figure. I love that. And the Silver Age Batman along with Ace the Bat Hound, and then Batman with the golden glider suit. So those are all available now. You can get them at Entertainment Earth and at Amazon. They run about $23 a piece. Over in TV news, those of you excited about Netflix's bevy of live action adaptations that they're dropping, they announced for Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2, the actress for Toph is going to be Mia Ketch. She was previously in Hawaii Five-0 and also in a series of American Horror Story. But she will be taking on the role of Aang's blind master, Toph Beifong. And she's literally one of my favorite characters from the series. She's incredible. And she's one of the only ones that makes it all the way into Legend of Korra, and is still around. Katara and Toph are still hanging around by the time that series premieres, and she's still a badass even in her like 90s, which is just incredible. In really bad news for anyone who is mooching off of your Disney Plus subscription, Disney and Hulu are adding a paid sharing option for non-account holders. So if you have a device that is not registered to the Wi-Fi in your house regularly, that Disney can see that you are logging into your Disney Plus on the same network, then when you try to log on away from home, it is going to detect that and then give you an option to pay $6.99 a month to jump onto the other person's $9.99 a month Disney Plus subscription.
What if I'm just traveling? What if I'm away from home and
So it has an option. So for devices that are known on your network and you have logged into Disney Plus on before, it gives you an option to say I'm away from home, and we'll let you proceed to watch it. But for devices that are not on your home network, you will not be able to log in. Although I do believe they have like a two-step or three-step verification process if you're just saying, hey, it's me, I'm just not home. But for like, if like my mother-in-law uses my Disney Plus, and she watches, like, she literally only uses it whenever my nieces are at her house, and for something for them to watch, she will have to pay for a $6.99 subscription to be added to our Disney Plus account.
That sounds really annoying.
That is really aggravating. And it's crazy that this keeps happening, but we should all be prepared for it with every streaming service, because whenever they are no longer new and shiny and trying to get your money and get you to sign up for their platform so that it doesn't fail like DC Universe did, then they are trying to lock in every last penny they can make off of it. And so Netflix has a similar model now, and Disney Plus, Hulu's got it. It'll only be a matter of time before your Amazon Prime and your HBO Max, or just Max, all have this as well. So, unfortunately, streaming services are just becoming the new cable. Everybody's going to have one. They all have their exclusives, and you have to pay for each one individually in order to watch the different shows you want to watch on them. And like I was saying few weeks ago, what was that, like 3 weeks ago? I wish that there was one service I could pay like $50 a month for and just have them all under one roof. Like if I could just play one like $50 subscription service and get them all, that's fine. But like I canceled my Spotify because they raised that to like $20 a month for the family plan. We took our Netflix down to one screen and we have commercials on that now. It's getting to where it's not cost effective to use streaming anymore. And whenever it gets to that point, especially in a recession, I assume most of us are just going to switch to piracy. And Billy beat me to it in the chat. I advocate to just go back to piracy again. I think that's where we're headed because, unfortunately, they don't have control of the whole internet, and there are ways to get their stuff online. Kempachi says, Kempachi in the chat said, evening, gents. What is up, Kempachi? Glad you are here. Love and miss you. Looking forward to seeing you at Cape Con in 5 weeks. Damn, that is so close. So excited. Anyway, James Wan is getting an executive producer credit for Amazon Prime's new RoboCop series that they are developing. So we all know the RoboCop movie did not do well. The relaunch of RoboCop was critically panned and not well liked by fans. Kempachi says, I'm a happy internet pirate and always have been. I pay for a few, but I watch everything. I totally get that. Yeah. And unfortunately, like even with like anime, they're cracking down on the piracy sites for that we reported that a couple of weeks ago too. So it's like, I mean, they're trying, but there's really no way to officially crack down on it.
Yeah, I mean, you could crack down on sites now, and that'll interrupt piracy for maybe a month.
Right. And I know that, like, I was reading an article the other day. Kimpachi said, for sure, Danny, can't wait for Cape Con. Hell yeah, brother. But I was reading an article the other day that was saying that, like, the United States sent a cease and desist to the Pirate Bay, and they sent them a letter back saying, we're not in fucking America. They're housed in Sweden, and Sweden doesn't care. Billy said, how I felt about the RoboCop reboot is how you felt about the Crow reboot. I get that, dude. Absolutely, I get it. But we have had a RoboCop TV series before, so this would actually be a reboot of the TV series as opposed to the movies. So it could be better, could be worse. I don't know how it could be worse than the TV series, though. Kimbachi said, my pirate anime site works better than the official sites, and they have all my anime in one. That's valid. That is valid. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's the internet is wild and crazy, and there's really no way to dial in or control what people can and cannot use on it. And if they find some way to do that, it's not the internet that we want. We'll be on the dark web. But yeah, so James Wan, also known for Saw, Insidious, The Conjuring, and both of the Academy Award-winning Aquaman movies, is helming a new RoboCop series at Amazon Prime. Daveed Diggs, who you guys may know from Snowpiercer. He was also the voice of Sebastian in Disney's live-action Little Mermaid, and most well known for being Lafayette and Thomas Jefferson in Hamilton, is joining the boys in season 5 in an undisclosed role. I haven't even seen any rumors as to who he might be playing. I don't know if he's going to be a super or an agent or what he's going to be in the show, but it's pretty exciting. I like Daveed Diggs. I think he's my number one choice for like a live action Gambit. I think he would be an incredible actor for that. So I'm excited to see what he does. And the voice cast just keeps getting more and more stacked. It's really incredible. Yeah. Katrina, huge Hamilton fan. We went to see Hamilton on Broadway. I'm sure she's excited about that. I really need to catch Snowpiercer. Snowpiercer is a comic book that was originally adapted into a feature film starring Chris Evans and Donald Sutherland, and I'm forgetting who else is in it. Who played the ancient one in Doctor Strange? She was the Snow Witch in Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
I know exactly who you're talking about, but
yeah, she's got a weird name. But anyway, she previously was in Snowpiercer with Chris Evans. She plays like the main overarching villain of the Snow Train. But they have done a long form television series that is on, I believe, the Sci-Fi Channel, that Daveed Diggs stars in, playing that same Chris Evans role from the comics. So check that out. Tilda Swinton. Thank you, Deontay. Jody right behind him. Deontay the Giant hit it first. But yeah, Tilda Swinton is in it as well. It's got a really great cast, and that movie is incredible. Kenpachi is not Emma Thompson, but good try, buddy. Good try. But anyway, Friday Night Light star Kyle Chandler has accepted the role of playing Hal Jordan in the Lanterns television series. The report came out earlier this week. He was rumored to be in it. And then he ended up accepting the role, so he is officially up one. He is official. That was the Daveed Diggs announcement, actually. Was the one you just had. He was officially announced to be starring as Hal Jordan in the Lanterns TV series. I think it's a great casting choice. He plays a really great, like, straight edge, tight ass character. We saw that in Wolf of Wall Street. He played basically what Hal Jordan would be in that as a cop. So I think he's a great choice. And I'm excited to see where they go with it from there. There hasn't been any other casting announced for that series. I know that they're talking about doing it in like a True Detective style mystery situation. I'm wondering if what they're going to do is the Parallax storyline, and Hal will be training Jon Stewart and then turn out to be the big bad of the series because Kyle Chandler is not signed on for any feature films. He is just signed on for the series. Yeah. So there are some rumors that they may be adapting the Blackest Night storyline, but it's kind of up in the air. But as far as like a true detective mystery, the guy that's literally killing all of the Green Lantern Corps, I think would probably be a good story. And then in True Detective, you kind of like it was kind of like left to your mind that one of the detectives might actually be the killer, and then by the time you got to the end of the series, it was like, well, that was preposterous. Obviously, he wasn't part of it. But in this, it would be the opposite. Subvert expectations. So we'll see. And actually, that was everything that I had. Landon, what do you got in video games?
All right, so some new rumors have come out that Xbox is once again doing a dual release console for their next planned release. For a while, we've been saying that they were planning on shutting down the Xbox department. A lot of people were thinking that. We thought that, but new rumors suggest otherwise.
Yeah, because
But
the Xbox sucks.
But they're thinking about doing. Rumors suggest that they are doing one traditional console and one handheld console to try to compete with the Switch.
Interesting.
I think that that's not a good idea.
I saw it. I saw it mentioned as like a Steam Deck competitor more than the Switch.
I've heard that as well, but it just doesn't seem like a good move. The Switch has already been ingrained in the market for a while now, and the Steam Deck has its place already. It would feel weird to bring in another competitor.
Yeah, I think the crazy thing is that like the Steam Deck is like a beast because if you already have an Xbox or a PS5 and you just have like a backbone for your phone, you can literally play your at-home console everywhere. So other than the fact that you can just load the Steam Deck down with like incredible like indie games and stuff and just like you're not limited to just Xbox or PlayStation. I don't see the advantage of them trying to come out with a handheld.
Yeah, it seems like a misstep to me.
Yeah. I know like my PSP, I was really excited when I bought the PSP, and then I played like a handful of games on it. And then I think I let Damien borrow it when he was like 5 or 6, and he took it in his bedroom, put it on the floor, and stomped on the screen. So he still owes me a new PSP. But it really got to where I just wasn't using it very much. Just Jax. What's up, Jax? Glad you're here. Handheld market is so bogged down now. This is an odd direction for Xbox. Yeah.
100% agree. But yeah, I don't know. Like we all knew that if they're going to do something, it was going to be another traditional console. But I don't know. Feels like a misplace of resources.
I think it's crazy that they didn't just look at Alienware and go like, we could do that. I mean, it's Microsoft, for Christ's sake,
Yeah.
Like they put tech in other people's computers. Like people build computers and buy the tech off of them. Like I just don't understand why they're trying to compete in the console market whenever they could just go into gaming PCs and probably save money because they wouldn't have all that research and development, and wouldn't be trying to like injection mold Xbox consoles and have them shipped over and then built somewhere else, by tiny little Chinese hands or whatever. Because those kids work really hard. But they could just build PCs, which is something that's already like available, and they could just put their name on it.
It could be they have some idea of where the market's going that we don't see. It could be the sunk cost fallacy. They've been doing this for about 2 decades now. So it could be that. Or maybe they see Xbox branding as like a marketing sort of thing, getting Microsoft known and associated with games, and uh, spreads word about like the Xbox Game Pass for PC and everything. So there may be a marketing component to all this that we don't see either.
That's true, but I just feel like the ship sailed for the Xbox console around the time that Halo peaked. Because that was it. Like you could not play Halo on anything else, and people were buying Xboxes in droves so that they could play Halo with their friends, and they haven't had a title that popular since. It was probably time to get out of the Xbox market after the 360.
Yeah. Who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah. But moving on,
Moving along.
Ubisoft has canceled all press reviews for Assassin's Creed Shadows.
That's sad.
It's a red flag. Assassin's Creed red flag.
Ben Stewart said Halo and Gears of War. I know Gears of War was popular. I don't think it ever reached the kind of heights that Halo did, though. Like I know a lot of people play Gears of War. I watched some people play it. I think I might have picked up an Xbox controller once and played it. It just didn't feel like that like console selling game that Halo ended up building. Specifically, Halo 2 ended up being. But anyway, what were you saying?
Oh yeah, just Ubisoft has canceled press reviews.
Which sucks. That really sucks. This was like the Assassin's Creed game everybody was looking forward to. Like they were finally getting back to being just like an incredible action and stealth assassin game. And this does not look good.
It does not. It could be that it's just like a overreaction to like all the extreme views of people who are still mad about seeing
A Black Samurai.
Yep.
Yeah.
It could just be like an overreaction or an overcorrection for that, but it could also just be
Billy Rhodes said, well, Microsoft owns Bethesda, which is a pretty heavy hitter. Gears is pretty popular too. Yeah, but they're making games for other consoles too. Like they're not stuck with the Xbox. You know, most of Bethesda's titles are available on PlayStation.
yeah. But yeah. Have anything more to say about Ubisoft or?
Just that I'm sad. Assassin's Creed is one of my favorite game series. 1 and 2, the Ezio games. I love those. I thought 3 was the best one they've made so far. 4 was kind of fun, but the piracy stuff got boring pretty quick for me. And God, I could not. I feel bad about this because Anthony. God, what is his name? Anthony Birch wrote the story. Anthony Birch, the DM for one of my favorite podcasts, Dungeons and Daddies, wrote the story for Assassin's Creed Valhalla. And I just cannot get into the game. Like I'm trying so hard to enjoy this game and I just cannot get into it. That makes me sad. It makes me very sad. But I was really excited about Shadows. It's set in feudal Japan, one of my favorite eras of history and regions of all time. I love stories from there, you know, and it's just I don't know. Hopefully this trend that we saw where Concord failed miserably is not a sign that AAA games are just not going to make it anymore.
I don't think it's a sign that AAA games are not going to make it. I think it's a sign that poorly managed and poor management and just designing games based off of focus groups rather than actual developer drive and ambition and actual love of making stuff is going to ruin games.
You know, another crazy thing that, and it's I think this trend has been going for a little bit, and I think you see it more on Steam than you do on the consoles. But like lower graphic games, like 32-bit, 16-bit, 64-bit games, that are like, what's the not Souls likes? Are they? It's a Souls like. No. Yes. Anyway, games that like Hollow Knight and stuff are like what people are playing for the most part, and it's starting to show that we're like the trend is in most other things. We're choosing quality over I guess quantity in this, but like it doesn't like we're more interested in games that have fun mechanics than games that have the greatest graphics.
I'm gonna share with you a little idea I've had for a while. If a game has so much focus on how good and how realistic it looks, it's a sign that they don't have much else beyond that. Sometimes they do, but if that's like their main selling point is how good their graphics are, that's a red flag.
Uh Yeah, I can agree with that. Although I will say there are some like really impressive looking games that are also fun to play. Elden Ring is one that is just like the graphics on it are incredible and the gameplay is also incredible.
Yeah.
Uh,
And Billy, I don't think Danny meant like 64-bit exactly. It's just that these are smaller games. These are not the AAA titles, but these are things that are crafted with love. They are crafted out desire and drive for the game.
I'm drawing a blank on the name of the game, but there is a side-scrolling action game that I have been playing on my PS5 that is 64-bit graphics.
It's okay.
What?
I don't like being 64-bit and just trying to.
Well, like emulating a 64-bit, not
So
not
it's just
actually.
So
Yeah,
it's just polygonal.
yeah,
All right, then yeah, it's just polygonal. It's
yeah.
not 64-bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mean to get pedantic about this, but
I
I'm
mean,
gonna
you're
get
being kind of
pedantic about it.
pedantic. But that's okay because that's why I love you. Okay, so what I meant was 64-bit style game, not necessarily. Speaking of, did you see that they're remastering
Legacy of Kain.
Legacy of Kain 1 and 2?
Yeah, I did.
Oh my god, I'm so excited about that.
Yeah, the state of play was like half of it was just announcing remasters, but not gonna lie, I am excited for this one.
Yeah, I hope that they remaster the actual Kane vampire games too, because that whole series is awesome. So yeah, I'm pumped about that. Let's see. Billy Rhodes said that the Bethesda games were available before the purchase of Bethesda. He's willing to bet Fallout 5 and Elder Scrolls 6 and the rest and the next Doom will be Xbox exclusive. That doesn't seem to be the way they're going, but maybe at first, and maybe not at all. Like maybe it'll never come to the PlayStation, and that's fine. I mean, it will come to PCs, so I'll be able to play it regardless. Just Jack said Valhalla has too much to do. Yeah, I can agree with that. It does seem a little busy. Ben said if I wanted to see the real world, I'd go outside. Yeah, gross. And then Kenpachi said, "Come on, guys, admit it. Not all games can be Witcher 3. Witcher 3 still going. They just released another remaster of that game. So I got into it a little bit, but I haven't played it enough to be like good at the game. So it makes it a little hard to play. But I'm still I need to get back into it and put some real time in learning the gameplay. And then maybe I'll enjoy it more. I did read the Witcher books, so the game was fun. It unfortunately he doesn't sound like he doesn't have the British accent that Henry Cavill has, but other than that, it's the same grovelly voice. But yeah, it looks like a fun game. I was fighting a dragon that I like couldn't kill the last time I was playing it, and I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna give this up, and went and played something else. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is all the news we have this. Well,
I actually had one more piece
I
of
thought
news.
you were done.
I'm sorry. I'm not used to running this long, but I have one last piece. Nintendo is finally suing Palworld.
Yeah, they are suing Palworld, and Palworld just dropped on the PS5 today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact about the lawsuit, though, it's not for trademark infringement. It is for patent infringement. Apparently, they are claiming some sort of mechanic or code in the game is a step into their domain.
So they felt like they changed it enough that Nintendo couldn't get them, so Nintendo found another way. That's kind of what it is.
I guess so, but I'm curious as to what exactly Nintendo has the copyright on. Because, like, capturing creatures and having them fight for you is not something Nintendo owns.
Right.
And beyond that, I don't know what else it compares with Pokemon.
Maybe they had already marketed a Pokemon with a gun that they've never used, or they'd already like copyrighted a Pokemon with a gun that they've never used, and they're in some kind of violation of that.
If that's the case, then Digimon might have something to say.
Yeah, that's valid. That's really valid. Suing over game mechanics is kind of shitty, I think, said Kenpachi. And he also said Witcher 3 is the best game I've ever played, and I have over 150 hours in the game. I'm going to get into it eventually. I have it. I need to spend some time on the controls for it. I just need to get good, you know? But yeah, it is very difficult when you own the IP for something and you see somebody uh, cutting into your profits. I mean, I understand as a company how it's expected by the stock owners, the shareholders, that when this kind of stuff happens, you have to attack. Like that's just the way corporations work. And obviously, it's not. Nintendo is one entity, but it's definitely not one person. That's a group of people deciding to do this and come after Pal World. So they're gonna find some way to either make some money off the game or shut it down permanently. Speaking of games that got sued for stealing other people's IP, Flappy Bird is coming back.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're getting ready to release like 3 versions of Flappy Bird. I guess they've redone it and found a way to do it without getting sued by Nintendo as well to release a new version of it for mobile games.
It's incredible. It's been like 9 years now?
It's been a minute for sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Must be one hell of an update.
Yeah. Let's see. Katrina said that's like when Apple tried to sue or tried to patent rounded screens. There's nothing wrong with trying because if you succeed, then the next person to try to do it, nah. And Billy Rhodes said if I could have been, it could have been a patent for anything. Sega used to own the patent on having an arrow above your head telling you where to go. Yeah.
Yeah. That was because of Crazy Taxi.
I love that game.
It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. And then they did the Simpsons Taxi, which was just Crazy Taxi with a Simpsons skin over it, which was also really fun.
Well, that was actually from a different company, and they got sued
Did they?
because of the arrow that Billy just talked about.
Wow. Okay. We brought that all the way back around.
Yeah.
So is that everything that you had?
That's everything.
I did see that Nintendo is actually announcing another different handheld console besides the Switch that they're going to be releasing along with the Switch 2.
I actually haven't seen this.
Yeah, I just saw an article about it. If I can find it really quick, I'll tell you about it. But if I cannot, then we will move along. Everybody loves dead air.
You would be surprised how many game mechanics out there are actually patented. The company that owns the Warriors games, like Hyrule Warrior and Fire Emblem Warriors, they actually patented how many enemies you're allowed to have on screen at one time. Somehow.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of the reasons like games like side-scrolling beat 'em ups aren't as popular is because they have to very carefully balance how many enemies they have at one time. It's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah, because you got to figure you got like Streets of Rage and Double Dragon and the Ninja Turtle video games all use that same side-scrolling beat 'em up mechanic. So, I mean, there's a lot of games in that franchise like that
The
model.
genre. Yeah, and it was really popular back in the day, but not so much now. Still have them pop up every once in a while.
Let's see. I've got to be getting close, or I've already passed it up.
Just Jax, you are right. Simpsons Hit and Run is a great game.
Yeah, it really is. They did a really good job with that. Just good enough that I guess they got them sued.
To be fair, at that time, to be doing so good that Sega wants to come after you, yeah, that's a sign of success in my mind.
Let's see. Here's the article. Mysterious Nintendo device leaks ahead of Switch 2 reveal.
Do share, Billy.
Oh, it's a peripheral for the Switch 2. That was a really clickbaity. All right. False alarm. Nintendo's not making a third console to release. Yeah, Billy, what news do you have? While we're waiting on you to enter that in the chat, this has been Bullet Points. Play us out, Landy. Is that the one? Is that the way to close that segment? Probably not.
I don't know. It sounds
Tomorrow's Billy's birthday. What?
Happy early birthday, Billy.
How old are you going to be? Like 29, 20, 20, 28, 29? You young fella. Just a young pup. Happy birthday, Billy. I mean, I'll tell you again tomorrow for sure. Just Jack said happy birthday to you, Billy. Yeah, so Landon and I did a watch along for Agatha All Along last week. If you were watching along with us on YouTube, as soon as the Disney Plus sound played through our speakers, YouTube pulled our video down.
Yeah,
Like it was super fast.
that does not surprise me. I tried looking back at the video like a couple days ago and couldn't find it on YouTube. So yeah,
It's still on Facebook. Facebook does not care.
it's also still on Twitch, which is where I found it.
And Twitch, but yeah, it is non-existent on YouTube. I have a downloaded version. I can upload the video back to YouTube without the audio, that part of the audio, if we wanted to add it back to the catalog. But yeah, no, the YouTube said nope, gone, which is crazy because like you could barely hear it even in the video I watched of it. Like there's a couple of moments where you get a little bit of audio from the show, but not enough that I would have thought that, because you can play like 10 seconds of audio owned by somebody else without it being a problem.
Something like that, like 10 seconds.
We didn't get 10 seconds. It didn't give us even remotely that long.
To be fair, I would be scared of Disney as well.
It's valid. It's valid. They are incredibly litigious. Disney is one of the most litigious companies in the world. So they're worse than Nintendo for sure, and whoever and Sega when they sued for Crazy Taxi. But anyway, we watched episode 1 of Agatha All Along live, but we haven't really gotten to review it. Landon, did you get to watch more, or did you stay away after that?
I have not watched another episode since the one we watched.
So the show is really good. I will say that right off the bat. It is really good. It's probably so far to the end of episode 2, because episode 3 just dropped 10 minutes ago. Don't leave. Stay here. You can watch it when we're done. I promise. Be patient. And if you're borrowing somebody else's Disney Plus, get your $7 so you can log back into their account. But anyway, the show has been really good. I'm really excited with where they're going. I like the fun nods they're doing. The Witch's Road, that song that they sang in the end of episode 2, is an absolute banger. I love that song, and I would like a full version of it with the cast singing it. I know they sang it at D23 on stage, but man, that song is so good. Like it is just stuck in my head. I don't know who wrote it, but it's awesome. Just Jax is my friend Jax, and he's a good dude, and a huge nerd. So glad they found their way to the show tonight. But yeah, really enjoying the show, really enjoying the chemistry between Aubrey Plaza and Catherine Hahn. Yes, they sing in it for this one scene. They sing this song to get onto the Witch's Road, which is pretty cool. But the chemistry between Catherine Hahn and Aubrey Plaza is awesome. The nods to the storyline of Billy being Wanda's son, being the Scarlet Witch's son. Jack says he's really Batman. Well, I look forward to seeing you accepting your star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. Hopefully there's a live stream of it because I will be watching it. But anyway, the show's great. The cast is great. I'm really enjoying it. They have introduced some really great elements from the comics, as well as the mystery behind Nicholas Scratch, which in the comics is Agatha's son. And they have just alluded to something vaguely having happened to him. And I think that we'll find out more as the show goes.
I'm really glad that you are enjoying the show, Danny, especially since I thought the first episode was a little weak.
Yeah.
Since it was mostly focused on that true detective style, which, like I talked about during our watch along, is a very slow burn of a genre, and having it only be one episode of something like that didn't really play into its strengths.
I think knowing, like I said when we were watching it, like if they planned to do the entire episode in that True Detective style, that would have been bad. Like I did not like WandaVision did one genre, one episode. If they had done that with the first episode, that would have been awful. But it was literally it was only like the first 20, 25 minutes. And the stuff with Billy is great. I really enjoy the Joe. I can't remember his last name, who is playing Teen or Billy in the series. And I think that they are finally giving us Mephisto. I know that we have all said that about 1,000 times about every Disney property that has come out since they announced Multiverse of Madness. But I think we are finally going to get an on-screen appearance of Mephisto, the devil, the literal Satan of the Marvel universe. And I know that he previously was cast as Sacha Baron Cohen. And I do believe that has not changed. So I think we will see Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto in this series at some point. Billy is always great, baby. Yeah, that's true, Billy. You are always great.
Always.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have a lot of criticism for the show. The pacing of the first episode was a little slow. Again, and I agree with your what you said about the True Detective style being a slow burn and not very exciting. Billy said they're not going to do Mephisto. They've literally cast someone to play Mephisto. He's coming eventually. It is bound to happen eventually. But I don't know that it'll be this series. But literally the fact that Billy gets a cursive M tattooed across his mouth to keep him from talking leads me to believe we're going to see Mephisto at some point in the series.
Technically, if you do say we're going to see Mephisto every time something new happens, eventually you'll be right.
Yes. Yeah, that is the observation that not only you, but most people on the internet have had about all of the Marvel show reviewers talking about Mephisto showing up. We're as tired of talking about it as you are of hearing about it. Deontay said he is definitely coming eventually. Absolutely. That's the thing. It actually, so whenever the Kenpachi said I thought it was a W across his mouth, when the trailer dropped, they said like the rumor was that it was a W for Wanda, but no, it's actually an M. Whenever it happens, Ben says everyone comes eventually. Yes, hopefully. I mean, I would hate for you not to ever achieve that in your life. That'd be a sad state of affairs. And Billy said it's illegal to show devils on TV in China. Disney doesn't want to lose that market. They've lost that market before over other things that they have released, but also they just send out a different version in China than what they send out in the United States. They plan for that shit. So
If Mephisto ends up being mostly CGI, isn't that something that's going to be too difficult for them to edit for other markets?
he could also just be a guy in a red suit, like a red three-piece suit, and that would be enough. He doesn't necessarily have to look like Lucifer. That's there are ways around that. I think there are things that they can do. But anyway, really enjoying the series. Catherine Hahn is incredible. Aubrey Plaza is incredible in anything that you put her in. Joe Locke does a really great job as Billy Kaplan. And the allusions to Billy said you don't always come all on Zoloft. That's true. Absolutely. But eventually, I hope that you do eventually make it. Space Boy in the chat. What's up, Space Boy? I'm tired of CGI. Unfortunately, it's not going anywhere. So many rumors about him. Kenpachi said so many rumors about him. One I heard a while back is that Aubrey Plaza was Mephisto, change his shape and all. I believe that they came out and said that she's not for the series. She's actually playing a canon character, possibly one of the Enchantresses. We already got Sylphie in Loki, so there's one other Enchantress in Marvel canon that could possibly be the character that Aubrey Plaza is playing. But yeah, I'm excited to see where the series goes. Episode 3 is out now. I will be watching it later, and then we will be back to report on it next week. But just it's really enjoyable. I would like to be more eloquent about how I feel about the show, but it's like The acting is great. The casting is great. All of the characters are great. I haven't had anybody I didn't like, and all the callbacks to WandaVision and the broader Marvel Cinematic Universe have been enjoyable for me.
Hell
So,
yeah.
yeah. That so also speaking of the MCU, they dropped a Thunderbolts trailer, a full trailer. So we've had a teaser, but then they dropped a full trailer, which was just a little bit more footage than what they gave us at CinemaCon. And Spaceboy said it was like a villain in a show about a guy who thought he saw hallucinations, but actually evil brain powers, etc. Oh, sorry, I missed your first comment. Spaceboy said, wasn't Aubrey Plaza already a Marvel villain in a show? Yes. So they had the Legion show that ran on FX. David Haller, the son of Professor X, is the main character in that, and he has DID, and each one of his disassociative identities has a different superpower, all because he literally has the ability to have every power in existence, but because he is so powerful, it fractured his mind to handle it, and he split his powers between his DID. So he has literally thousands of alters, and each one that he can present has a different ability. And Aubrey Plaza was in the mental institution with him in the beginning of the series, and then as you go through the show, you find out that she's actually one of his alters, and she's got powers and abilities. So yes, she has previously been in a Marvel series. That Marvel series is not canon to the MCU though. That's Fox Marvel. So definitely room for her to play a character in both universes, and that does give her the opportunity to appear as that character in, I don't know, whenever we eventually get the Legion character showing up in Secret Wars. Maybe she'll pop up there and as her Enchantress character from Agatha All Along. But anyway, they dropped a Thunderbolts trailer. We get to see the Sentry on screen for the first time. So Bob Reynolds, the Sentry, Just Jack says, can you watch Agatha without knowledge of other MCU shows? I think that you absolutely can. I think that not everything will be in context for you, but I think that they give you enough context in the series that you'll figure it out on your own. And there's certainly any questions you have, a simple YouTube video can answer for you. So I think that you could definitely watch the show without having seen the previous.
Yeah. The biggest one would clearly be WandaVision, but other than that, I think it shouldn't tie into much else.
But it does give you a good little like catch up to what happened prior to the series. So you could just drop in as long as you watch the like previously in whatever bit that they give you before the series starts. I think it'd be fine. And if you're like a hardcore completionist and it has to be perfect and you have to see absolutely every little thing they may tip towards in the show, yeah, you're gonna have a lot of watching to do. But if you're okay just kind of like doing a little bit of research and watching the, picking things out from context clues, you'll be fine. And, check it out. It's a good show. And if that's your introduction to the broader Marvel Cinematic Universe, there's no wrong time to jump in. I think this is a great series to do so with. But anyway, so we got the Sentry on screen for the first time. We got Bob Reynolds showing up in a scene where the rest of the Thunderbolts come together to kill each other. We've got the Black Widow, Yelena Belova from Hawkeye and the Black Widow movie. We've got Ghost from Ant-Man 2. Taskmaster shows up in a new, more comic accurate costume. We've got U.S. Agent with his just rough steel shield that he made at the end of Captain America and the Winter Soldier. Bucky shows up. He, does a couple callbacks to Winter Soldier, the movie, which I think is cool. Red Guardian is back, and we get to see Val on screen. And we don't get to see the Sentry using his powers, unfortunately. So for those of you who don't know, the Sentry has a more powerful version of the Super Soldier Serum than Bob is not Bob agent of Hydra. Hydra Bob is an entirely different character. Bob Reynolds, I think you could most closely relate him to Miracle Man. But he is a character who has a different version of the Super Soldier Serum from what Captain America got, and it gives him the power of 1 million exploding suns, which is a lot of power. It really is.
I would think so.
Yeah. So Bob got this ability that makes him basically like Marvel Superman. But in the process of creating the Sentry identity, he also created an alter called the Void. And the Void is as powerful as Bob and is equal to him in every possible way. Initially, Bob thought that he was just his villain. Natalie, what's up? Glad you're here. He initially Bob just thought that the Void was his arch enemy, but for every bit of good that Bob does or the Sentry does, the Void does an equal amount of bad. And then eventually Bob figured out that he was both the Sentry and the Void, and there was no way for him to defeat himself, and he was the most powerful creature in existence. So with the help of the Reed Richards and some of the other Marvel think tank, they wiped Bob's memories and suppressed his abilities, and he lived. So he was a Silver Age Marvel hero. Technically, that's a retcon, but he was a Silver Age Marvel hero, and he forgot he existed, and everyone else forgot he existed, except for the Incredible Hulk. He's the only one that remembered him. So one day, Bob, who's this like middle-aged kind of schlub, finds his Sentry powers and then remembers everything about his past and becomes a superhero again, thinking he has finally found a way to do this without the Void showing up. And then, he gets a little bit of time, and then the Void shows up, and he takes a dark turn. He's on the Dark Avengers for a while in the comics, led by Norman Osborn. He comes and goes throughout the comics. So whenever people start talking about like really powerful characters in the Marvel universe, usually the Sentry's name gets thrown in there. He looks like Solar Man from Superman 4. It's a yellow costume, long blonde hair, the whole shebang. So, but Sentry is Story Love in the chat. What's up? Sentry is the one of Marvel's equivalents for Superman, because you also have the Guardian and or Gladiator. You have Gladiator from the Shi'ar Empire. You also have Hyperion, who is their like Justice League analog for Superman. And then you have the Sentry, and then Blue Marvel. So there are a lot of Superman analogs in Marvel comics, but the Sentry is one of them. But anyway, he's just a generally bad dude to mess with because he's so powerful. And he is ideally both a hero joining the Thunderbolts team and also who they're going to have to take down, because the Void will probably present at some point in the movie. And that's what the team is coming together for. They literally mentioned coming together as a team of Avengers. So there is some inkling that this may be a Dark Avengers team. Going forward past that, and nobody knows what the Thunderbolts, the asterisk on the end of the name means, but the prevailing theory is that it means that they're going to replace it with a different name later, probably Avengers.
Yeah. Or it could show that like the Thunderbolts is like a temporary thing in general.
It could. The Thunderbolts are very much Marvel's version of the Suicide Squad. That it's a very similar idea. They're mostly villains who decide to in the comics, the Thunderbolts were a team of villains that decided to masquerade as heroes, and so they took Avengers type names and characters. They created like Baron Zemo became a sword wielding version of Captain America. He was the Patriot, I think. So they were pretending to be heroes, but they were actually villains the whole time. And then eventually, some of them became real heroes and got addicted to be doing good things. And then some of them ended up fighting the rest of them, and they broke the team up. And then the Thunderbolts has just been a recurring superhero team of mostly anti-heroes since. But anyway, so that's kind of the idea behind the Thunderbolts. We'll see how it works in the movies and what they do with it at the end of the series. I will say, if their intent is that this will be an Avengers team, they're pretty light on heavy hitters. The Avengers have, Hulk and Thor They do have 2 super soldiers in Red Guardian and U.S. Agent, but other than that, Taskmaster isn't stronger than a person. Ghost has phasing abilities, so I guess that falls kind of into Vision's realm. But like as far as like a 1-to-1 for the Avengers, it's pretty light.
A smaller, more tactical Avengers team.
Yeah. But we'll see. We'll see what they end up doing with Sentry by the end of the series, or how they tackle his DID issues and the fact that the Void is literally like pure darkness and evil, and whether they find some way to leave Bob, the Sentry, in the MCU or if he is just gone by the end of the movie. But yeah, we also got the first episode of The Penguin, dropped last Sunday. Colin Farrell playing the character from the Matt Reeves Batman movie, starring Robert Pattinson. This is his standalone series, takes place outside of the Batman films. It progresses the story from after the Riddler blew up the seawall in Gotham. I never watched The Sopranos. But I'm aware enough of The Sopranos. This is like The Sopranos. He's very much like a Tony Soprano type character. He is a greasy, dirty man who does not mind doing just the worst possible thing to get what he wants. It's a very dark series. Deontay said, "Yay, another Maroni versus Falcone story." The thing they do reintroduce Salvatore Maroni, which is one of 2 of Batman's usually interchangeable big like mafia villains. So it's either Falcone or Maroni, usually in the comics, and then in some comics like The Long Halloween, they both show up and they interact with each other. So obviously Falcone died at the end of the Batman. And then this is the story of the power vacuum left after he has died. Basically, the kingpin of crime in Gotham has died, and Penguin is trying to fill that vacuum. Jessica Christian said, "I enjoyed it. Think it will end up being a very good series." The first episode, it really brought some heavy notes, some heavy hits. It seems like they're not eschewing violence. Seems like they're leaning into it. The Penguin is a brutal man. Like he just kills a couple of different people in the episode, and you can tell like he doesn't weigh it morally, or he's not, he just pulls out his gun and starts shooting. He's really devoid of any goodness, other than I think they're borrowing notes from the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie, and that he's got a loving relationship with his mother, who is not she's super supportive, but not very healthily, not in healthy ways. At least she like pushes him to become a crime lord, as opposed to, like, hey, maybe don't kill a bunch of people. But you see the starting of his empire. He ends up taking, I think he's going to end up taking over the Iceberg Lounge fully on his own. He does go in and have a conversation with Salvatore Maroni, which I thought was really cool. He's being played by, God, what is his name? He's the voice of Mr. Krabs in SpongeBob. He was Kurgan in the Highlander movie.
I know who you're talking about, but I cannot.
What is his name? He's got a girl's name. But anyway, that guy is playing Salvatore Maroni, and I love him in pretty much anything that he's in. He's a great actor. So I enjoy him. And the series, apparently this isn't the only Batman series they're going to do either. Like they're planning to do more. Clancy Brown, thank you. I guess Clancy's not really a lady's name. I don't know. But yeah, Clancy Brown, the voice of Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob SquarePants. He's also the villain in the first season of Marvel's Punisher. And he's, like I said, the original Highlander movie. He was the big bad Kurgan from that. Clancy Brown has been around and done so much. He's such a good actor. But yeah, Penguin's good. That's end of story. Penguin is enjoyable. We're very fortunate in that we've gotten a good something from the DC universe, and we've gotten a good something from the MCU. And then to top off my week, Natalie Hopkins in the chat said I was supposed to go to a Central Christian football game on Friday, but it's out of town. It's going to be in Fairfield. Okay, good to know. But we got we got a good DC property, we got a good Marvel property, and we also got an excellent Transformers movie, and we're going to talk about that next. Deontay said, I wish this story revolved around Penguin already filling the power vacuum, not his rise to power again. Gotham did this so well despite not being from the Matt Reeves verse. I really enjoyed the first couple seasons of Gotham, and then even though it was on Fox, it got the CW treatment. They really watered that series down after a couple of seasons. It got really hard to watch it whenever there were no real like stakes and nothing really bad was going to happen to anybody. And you know, the show was enjoyable at first. I really enjoyed. I really thought the casting for Penguin and Riddler was awesome. Later in the seasons, whenever they introduced Jerome as like the Joker, but he wasn't the Joker, I thought that was cool. You know, Sean Pertwee as Alfred was great. He was a really great Alfred. I really enjoyed him as the character. The Bruce Wayne kid was all right. He was fine. And then crazy, they found a girl to play Selena Kyle that looked like a young Michelle Pfeiffer. That was nuts. But yeah, that show did kind of like peter off near the end of it. I hope that this series doesn't do that. But it is like, God, it's so dirty. Like the series is just like, you feel not clean watching it. It is just such a grim series, but very enjoyable. I hope that it continues in the way that it is. But I went today and saw Transformers 1. I love Transformers. It is one of my favorite properties from my childhood, and it has continued to be one of my favorite properties as an adult. You know, I have my sweet little Optimus Prime here. I've got a bunch of Transformers action figures, and I'm only saying all of this so you guys understand that I have been very critical of the Michael Bay Transformers films, and that they're largely, if they could just condense all 6 of them or 5 of them that they've made down to just the scenes with the robots and cut all the people out, they'd be great. But the fact that all of the human stuff is in there, it just sucks. Like, all I want is to see giant robots hitting each other and fighting and saying cool shit. And that is just not what those movies give you for the majority of the movie. My favorite Transformers movie is the original 1980s animated film. I love it. I watch it regularly. I quote it all the time. It's a great film, and this is definitely the second best Transformers film ever made. It is incredible. They do such a great job of weaving the broader lore of the Transformers universe into an origin story for Optimus Prime and Megatron. Deontay said, found out Michael Bay produced Transformers 1. LOL, maybe his best work. Yeah. A production credit, much better than him directing it. Chris Hemsworth, initially listening to Chris Hemsworth's voice coming out of Optimus Prime is a little grating. But by the end of the movie, I didn't notice it anymore. He seemed to really, by the time he was fully Optimus Prime, by the end of the movie, he had a decent Optimus Prime voice. Billy said, what, you like the original Transformers movie? This is the first time I've heard of it. Yeah. Jessica Christian said, can't wait to see it this weekend. Yes. I've ringing endorsement, Story Love. It is incredible. What was my favorite thing? And it's funny because my friend Sean was saying the other day that the best Transformers movie is like the first 10 minutes of Bumblebee. The first generation, the generation 1 Transformers are everywhere in this movie. Like they are like, they're just in the background in like random scenes. They're like, you're just like, Damien and I were watching it. We were like, hey, that's Cliff Jumper. Oh, there's Jazz. You know, there's a Soundwave and Starscream and Shockwave and RC and Cup and Blur, and I think the Dinobot showed up in it. I need to see if anybody else noticed this, because there was definitely Dinobot colored Transformers in it. I thought I saw Grimlock, which doesn't make sense because the Dinobots weren't made until the Transformers came to Earth. So that kind of shunts some of the Generation 1 lore a little bit, but I may be wrong. They may have just been similar colored Transformers, but it did look like a robot version of Grimlock. So I'll check it out. I'll figure it out. I don't know for sure, but man, it is just rife with Generation 1 Transformers, and there's like gotta be 1,000 of them in this. It is just nuts how many Transformers are in this movie, and it is incredible. The movie's funny, it's enjoyable. Is it gonna win an Oscar? No. Unless it's for animation. No, it is not. The story's not it's largely predictable, I would say. But that being said, that doesn't take away from the joy of watching it and seeing the relationship between Optimus Prime and Megatron and the turn that it takes. And the Optimus Prime going from Orion Pax to Optimus Prime, and the story of the primes. So all of the primes show up in this. That has never been a thing that has happened in Transformers history. We've never seen all the primes, and they unveiled them all for this movie, which was just, I was like, holy shit. Just Jack said a lot of great movies don't win Oscars. Absolutely. Most of my favorite movies didn't win any Oscars or Golden Globes or anything. Deontay said, I'm going to compare it to Into the Spider-Verse as far as animated films go. I'd say it's up there. Absolutely. I would say it's up there. Fun bit of trivia. Steve Buscemi voices Starscream. Like when I heard Steve Buscemi's voice coming out of Starscream, I was like, what? But it's really fun. They play it well. It's very just great. It's just great. I was in heaven for an hour and 40 minutes. I just loved every second of it. It has been a while since I've left the theater on the kind of high that I left the theater on today. It was super enjoyable. Really, very, very much the way that I said that Deadpool and Wolverine was not a perfect movie, but it was a perfect movie for me. That's true of Transformers 1 as well. It's like they made this movie for me, and I appreciate their efforts because it was incredible, and I can't wait to put it on a shelf next to my original Transformers movie and just look at them and go, you're both great.
You were just giddy sitting there in the theater, huh?
I was, yes. Funny story. We went into the theater, the local theater. We sat down. We bought our tickets and we went into the theater and we sat down and nothing was playing. No previews, no anything. And so we sat there for like 5-ish minutes, or we maybe stood in there for like a minute and a half. And I walked back out and asked the person at the theater, I was like, hey, there's nothing playing in there. Is somebody going to turn it on? Because it was literally just us. Like we were the only two in the theater. So I'm assuming since they didn't have anybody buy tickets, they just weren't going to play it.
Mm-hmm.
But then she was like, I'll get somebody, they'll get it on for you. And so we sat in there for like 10 minutes. And then I called, instead of getting in my seat, I just called the theater and I was like, hey, it's the two guys in theater 11. The movie's still not playing. She's like, oh, okay, I'll get a manager on it. So we sat there for like another 10 minutes and nothing. And so I called her again. I was like, hey, we're still sitting in here. The movie still isn't playing. And she goes, well, we've got one starting in like 5 minutes. Do you just want to go to that theater instead? And I was like, sure. And so we just got up and hopped theaters, and they gave us free popcorn for our wait. And it was other than the like 35 minutes I wasted waiting for the movie to start, it was incredible.
Yeah, and you got some free popcorn out of it.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was really, really great. They do a lot to feature Alita 1, which is one of my favorite female Transformers. And this week on the hit list, we're talking about our 5 favorite badass females. Welcome to the hit list. This week we are talking about our 5 favorite badass female characters. This can be from literally any kind of media, your fan fictions. It's just a story about your mom, like however you want to do this. Totally fine. Ben said free popcorn. You profited $276 by going to the movies. It's true. Yeah, they were big. They were big buckets of popcorn. We probably did have like $30 worth of popcorn for real. But anyway, 5 favorite badass females. Get your lists in now. Let's drop your number fives. And then, don't think too hard about your number five. So then you have time to think about your number four so that we can, keep the list rolling generally. But I'm not telling you how to live your life. Just do what you want. Landon, do you want to be super cool and give me your number five?
Sure. My number 5 is Toph from Avatar. Really, you could put any woman from Avatar in this spot. They can all do insane things,
It's true.
whether they're benders or not. But I threw Toph in here because she would love to be on this list. She is an incredible fighter. She takes on tournaments, she takes on soldiers, she'll take on anyone in the entire show. And she did it, and she does it all while not only being blind, but using her earthbending as a way to sort of see throughout the world, basically showing that she can not only do like incredibly huge high power things, but she's so attuned with it that she can see the minute small details and everything just with how she can feel through
Mm-hmm.
her bending. And it's insane.
Yeah, and the joke moments in the series where they play on her, where she makes fun of other people for her blindness,
Uh-huh.
are so funny. Like it's hilarious. Because there's like a scene in the show where they're like riding the back of Appa and they're looking for something, and Toph's like, "Oh, I see it over there," and they all like run to her side and they look over and like, "Where?" And then she just starts laughing at them.
Yeah.
It's like that's so funny.
Yeah. All the other ones are more so making fun of her blindness itself
Mm-hmm.
that I can think of, honestly.
Yeah.
But yeah, she has fun with it too. It's great.
Like the one where Sokka and Aang hold up a wanted poster, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, "Did you see this?" And she's like, "I'm assuming it's a piece of paper, probably with something on it." Uh, but yeah, one of the funniest things about the like tournament fighting scenes with Toph in Last Airbender, she faces off against a character called the Boulder, and the Boulder is a spoof on The Rock, like Rocky Maivia, the wrestler, and he's voiced in the show by Mick Foley, like longtime uh, wrestling partner and opponent of The Rock. They're really good friends, and so
Hmm.
Mick just did his best The Rock impression as the Boulder. And it's just one of those like funny things. Like if you're a wrestling fan, especially, it's just really great that they pulled that off.
Yeah, I actually didn't know Mick Foley played that.
Yeah, when he's like, the Boulder is conflicted. Yeah, that's Mick Foley saying that. But
Makes
yeah,
sense.
what do we have in the chat?
All right. Ben Stewart's number 5. Only so low so it in before Danny gets her. Jasna. Now that is one bad lady.
It's Yasna. The J is a Y sound. She is one of the best characters from the Stormlight Archive novels, and she is a badass lady. She is incredibly smart, incredibly eloquent, incredibly dangerous, and just such a well-written character. That's the one thing I will say is that there are two really cool characters. They're both women in the Stormlight Archive, and Yasna is like written as this incredibly clever, like brilliant character, and then the other female character, Shallan, thinks she's incredibly clever and witty, and she's written as someone who's like oblivious to how like not clever and witty she is. And there's like this, people are like, when people criticize it, sometimes they're like, Brandon Sanderson doesn't know how to write Shallan as witty. She just kind of cringe. And it's like, but no, he has Yasna in the exact same series, and she's incredibly witty. Like it's clearly that she's a 17-year-old girl who thinks she's smart, you know.
Hmm.
But yeah, great character. Yasna's awesome.
Deontay's number 5 is Violet Arcane. Some of the meanest hands in the series, and she's scared of absolutely no one.
Oh, dude, yeah. I just finished season 1 of Arcane in preparation for season 2. I would never play League of Legends. I have no interest in an MMORPG. I tried a couple of them. It's just not for me. Arcane is fucking awesome.
Hmm.
Have you not watched it?
I haven't watched it.
Oh, Did you
Joey
play League
tells
of
me I should
Legends?
watch it, and no, I am scared of League of Legends.
Why?
Because I do not I try my best to avoid toxic online
Is
communities.
it bad?
What?
Is it bad?
Oh, it is one of the worst out there, or at
Really?
least it was back in its prime. I don't
Mhm.
know if the reputation has changed, but it was known for being terrible.
Okay. I did not know that. I didn't know any of that. I just knew that it was kind of an early, like a really early MMORPG, and that, on the list of ones that I would play, it's probably not one of them. But dude, Arcane is awesome. And that series features several badass women that you could probably just make a top 5 list out of Arcane characters. And if you did, I apologize. I don't want to steal your thunder there, but yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Katrina Stewart's number 5 is Kim Possible.
Is that from the live action or the animated? I'm just kidding.
I didn't know there was any live action Kim Possible.
Yeah, they released I don't know how long ago it was, like the last year, maybe 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. They released a live action Kim Possible.
I have a feeling it was terrible.
I don't know. I didn't watch it.
Hmm.
I think Katrina did. But yeah, Kim Possible, she's a super spy.
Yeah.
Space Boy. Landon, please watch Arcane. It's good, I promise.
No, it's Landon, please, what's Scotch Arcane? It's good, I promise.
What is it about your significant other recommending something that means you will run the other direction as hard and as fast as you can?
It's not so much that, it's more so I have so much on the list of things people tell me to watch, and I just don't have time for it all. I'm getting into One Piece now.
That's
Where does
true.
that leave time for anything else?
It doesn't. One Piece is a demanding mistress for sure. But I don't know, like Katrina and I, if there's like something one of us is like really into, or like you should check this out. Like we never, like it's like pulling teeth to get either one of us to like break that seal and start a series. You just started The Bear.
I watched 2 episodes.
So good. What'd you think?
I think it's good.
Okay, cool. Glad we agree on that. I'd have been mad if you'd have been like, it's not that good.
No, I do think it's that good. It
Yeah.
is. The anxiety, it speaks to me.
Right. Having worked in the service industry and been in kitchens on and off for many years, it brought back like just the stress of being a kitchen or restaurant staff member.
As somebody who has mostly worked in restaurants, yeah, same. Story Loves number 5 is Amy from John Dies at the End. She has one hand, saw a couple of idiots trying to hunt the supernatural, and made it profitable. And it dates one of the idiots too.
You got to date idiots. I mean, you don't have a lot of options as a woman. But yeah, I have not. I apologize because I know it's your favorite book, and I don't know how you feel about the movie, but I have not read or watched John Dies at the End, so I don't know the story very well. Billy Rhodes said, for the longest time, I thought One Piece was about lifeguards and it was a reference to their swimwear, but apparently it's about fruit pirates or some shit.
Pretty much.
Yeah, you're in the ballpark, I'd say.
Jessica Christian's number 5 is Katniss Everdeen, The Hunger Games.
Yes, books and movies. Katniss is a really great character. She's, I think she does a lot for like the idea of like women's empowerment, and like she's a dangerous human being with a bow, and I think that's really cool because I'm super into archery.
Yeah.
And then it was like a tradition for me and Emma to like watch all of the Hunger Games movies together. So
Had to essentially take on the responsibility of caring her for her family at a young age, and then to bear that weight to go on and volunteer to go into a death match so that her sister doesn't die, plus everything else that goes on beyond that is insane.
She only goes into the death match twice, right? In the third book, they're not doing it anymore. The Hunger Games.
I mean,
I'm just trying to remember.
Yeah,
like she goes into one, and then has to come back for another one, and
Yeah.
then
after that, there's no more official death matches.
Right. Yes.
All right.
Story Love said, if I read John Dies at the End, she will read Stormlight Archive. Deal. I will deal. Absolutely. And Ben said Kaladin's story about saving his brother is way better, and that's also true. Ben is absolutely right.
Space Boys number 5 is Jessica Jones. Super strength person who doesn't care that she has these powers. She just wants to be a PI, man.
I do enjoy the Netflix Jessica Jones series, but the comic book Jessica Jones is, and I'm not assuming that either way. But the out of the two options, comic book Jessica Jones is so much cooler than TV show Jessica Jones. She can actually fly, for one thing. She went to high school with Peter Parker. She had a crush on him. She marries Luke Cage. They have a baby together. Squirrel Girl is their babysitter. Like, she's just really cool. She's cool in the show too, though.
Yeah.
I like Kristen Ritter.
I think all Jessica Jones is cool.
Absolutely. See, we're in agreement.
Billy Rhodes, number 5, Pan Am, Cyberpunk 2077. When the plan to down the AV goes slightly askew, she gets pissed and says, "Fuck it, they want to play? We'll fucking play," and shoots it down with an RPG.
I have not gotten that far into Cyberpunk. I don't even know if I've met Pan Am yet. Have you played Cyberpunk yet?
Yeah, I've played it a few times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When does she come into the story?
How far are you?
I got like the 5-hour demo, and I got like 5 hours into it, and like 3 hours of that was create a character. So
okay, Pan Am comes whenever you're trying to track down one of the people that might know something about the thing in your head.
is she the girl with Katrina's haircut?
No.
Like black? No. Okay.
Nope.
I don't know that I've seen her.
You probably haven't if you only got like 5 hours in.
Yeah.
But that looks like it's. Oh wait. Sorry, forgot about you for a second. Just Jax's number 5 is Arya Stark, Game of Thrones.
Dude, yeah, Arya is awesome. The books specifically, but the TV show version was really, really cool too. Even up to and including her. I think it's a lame piece of the story that she killed the Night King so quickly, but I also think it is such a badass thing that this big bad that everybody is like scared to death of for the entire series shows up and is wreaking havoc, and Arya's like, I got it. And just wipes him out, like almost no fight whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that's everything from chat.
All right, my number 5 comes from Coffin Comics. It is a character named Lady Death. She is the goddess of death from this series that featured. She originally came from the Evil Ernie comics and then got a comic of her own afterwards. She's just a kick-ass goth lady who's the goddess of death, and she's an incredibly cool character, and I've always really had an affinity for her, especially in my early teens.
Yeah, goth Danny liking Lady Death.
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't say I'm surprised.
Landon, what do you have for number 4?
My number 4 is Yuna from Final Fantasy X. She goes through it. Her father dies while trying to defeat Sin, does defeat Sin for about 20 years. And then she also takes up the mantle. Her belief that this will be good for the people as a whole, even though it's temporary, defeating Sin is what drives her. And then to go on to be betrayed, be tricked, and to essentially have her entire religion be shown as a sham, which has been the thing driving her forward. But then she still manages to push herself forward to reach the end and do all this is insane. She's not physically strong. She's not incredibly boisterous like the main protagonist Titus, but she pushes herself through, and that takes a lot.
So let me get this straight. There's a character that is presented with evidence that their religion and belief is a sham, and they take that in and use that information and find a new way. Like they're receptive to it.
Yes.
That's not believable. No wonder it's a Final Fantasy series. Because that does not happen.
Thank you, Just Jax.
Absolutely, yeah. What is in the chat?
Story Loves number 4 is Captain Marvel. She took a headbutt from Thanos and just glared him down. I love her.
Yeah, dude, Captain Marvel in the MCU is incredible. Captain Marvel in the Marvel 616 is also incredible. Carol Danvers is just one of the toughest characters that Marvel has. She's incredibly powerful. And, you know, the decision that Marvel made in the like 2010, 2011, somewhere around there to officially name her Captain Marvel instead of continue to call her Miss Marvel was one of the best things that they could have done for the character because she deserved it.
Mm-hmm. Just Jax's number 4 is Miranda Priestley, The Devil Wears Prada.
Isn't she the villain?
Can't villains be badass?
She's a badass lady. That's true. It's Meryl Streep. Do not want to mess with her. I'm saying all of this, and I have no context because I've never seen Devil Wears Prada. But I do. I generally know from that time, that episode of The Office, where Michael is like trying to be Miranda, and then he finds out that she's the villain in the end, and that whole thing. But yeah, great choice.
Yeah. Jessica Christian's number 4 is Kimiko, The Boys.
Yes, absolutely. Basically Wolverine. Kimiko's basically Wolverine. Instead of having claws, she just rips people apart with her fingers. And Karen Fukuhara, the actress that plays her in the television series, does a great job. It's very believable that she's as sweet and violent as she is, and great. Yeah, awesome choice. That's all I can say. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Billy Rhodes' number 4 is Mandy, Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. I can't specifically remember examples, but I'm sure they're there.
Mandy is basically an elder god.
Mandy has stared down demons and told them to fuck off. And you know what they do? They fuck off.
Yeah, Mandy could give Cthulhu psychic damage. Like, that's his insanity meter would go way up for messing with Mandy.
Mandy has actually enslaved death.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That might be the list. I did not consider somebody dropping one at number 4 at number 4 that hit so hard that it felt like everybody else's choices weren't maybe not going to be as strong. But yeah.
Yeah. Deontay Lifters. Number 4 is Nami, One Piece. The true captain of the Straw Hat Pirates. The only character capable of one-shotting both Luffy and Zoro. Wears the pants in her relationship with Usopp, the best navigator.
Nami goes through it too, especially in the earlier arcs of the series. Once she gets past her, like, I forget which story it is, but the one where they go back to her hometown, the whole thing with Arlong Park.
Yeah, Arlong.
The story with Arlong Park. Once they get past that, she doesn't really deal with any real heavy notes throughout the series, but by the she earns her place among the Straw Hats.
Yep. Space Boy? No. Space Boy's number 4 is Elizabeth Swan from Pirates of the Caribbean. She starts off as the damage in distress, but quickly loses that title as her boyfriend becomes the damsel. She literally the pirate king in the end. Damsel.
Yes. Keira Knightley in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Like, I know everybody says Johnny Depp was like his Captain Jack Sparrow is like the thing that makes those movies. I would argue that Keira Knightley plays an equal to, if not more important role in those movies and is a bigger reason why I kept coming back to them because she does such a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben Stewart's number 4 is Tifa Lockhart, also one of my favorite cosplays.
It's true. There's a lot of different versions of Tifa's cosplay. And Tifa is one of the most badass characters in Final Fantasy VII and in all of video games, I would say. I have played the original 7, but I will say in Advent Children, the Final Fantasy VII movie they made, Tifa just fucking brings it, and it's awesome.
Hell yeah.
Have you seen Advent Children?
No, I have the disc because it was given to me by a friend a long time ago, but I've never watched it.
I have it on DVD and I have it for my PSP, which I can no longer use. That's how much I liked it.
Damn.
And Ben said the fact that her weapons are just her hands is awesome. Lol. Deontay says, "Get up off my wife."
That looks like it's
My
everything in chat.
number 4 comes from the world of Marvel Comics, specifically Spider-Man's comics, specifically an alternate reality where Peter did not get the spider bite Gwen Stacy did, and that is the Ghost Spider, Gwen Stacy. There was a rule in comics. There was only 3 characters you do not bring back from the dead. There were 3. It was Bucky Barnes, Jason Todd, and Gwen Stacy. And in a very short period of time in the comics, we got all 3 of them back to back reintroduced to the comics, and they're all great. Winter Soldier is incredible. Red Hood is awesome. Like one of my favorite DC characters. Not as cool as Nightwing, but close. And then Gwen Stacy, like, who thought that the love of Spider-Man's life that was so devastating whenever she died at the hands of the Green Goblin, coming back as a younger teenage spider-based superhero was going to be so fucking cool. And it's incredible. And it's so incredible that it inspired Gwenpool as well, which is another great character. But Gwen Stacy is just so cool. They did such a good job with her and Into the Spider-Verse and Across the Spider-Verse, but also just in the comics. The idea is great. She's graceful, strong. She has the Venom symbiote as well as spider powers. She's just super OP for a Spider-Man character, and literally one of my favorite inventions in Marvel Comics in the last 2 decades, probably second only to Superior Spider-Man.
Yeah, Gwen Stacy's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And she's a drummer. Like, she's so cool.
Yeah.
Got a rock band on top of all that. Pfft.
Can't believe she dies in most other universes. That sucks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. She's just got such a breakable neck. Like, it's just so breakable.
Okay, well,
thank God she's got the Venom symbiote in the Spider-Gwen universe.
What? That's the thing that stops her neck from being breakable?
She could break her neck and survive it with the Venom symbiote. That's the big difference.
I see.
Yeah. Landon, what do you have for number 3? He's looking at me like, you say things at this point, Danny.
Yeah. You got to give me direction here. My number 3 is Nicole Watterson. So straight up, Amazing World of Gumball, a show I wrote off right off the bat, and I, looking back, really regret doing so. It's not something that has a lot of overarching stories. Most of the episodes are just contained things on their own, but the stories they can tell with just a single episode is insane. Going back into Nicole's past about essentially being forced by her parents to be an overachiever, and the schism that comes in between them because of her desire to not be driven insane, and everything she has to do, and just being a mom in general on top of all her past traumas and shit.
Yeah, she sounds like she's ripe for a lobotomy.
I think they might actually make that joke in the show.
Do they?
Well, they make a lot of... Listen, when they heard they were going to get canceled, they went hard on a bunch of jokes because they were like, oh, well, what can they do? We're already getting canceled.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nicole Watterson.
I will agree with your assessment. I have written off Amazing World of Gumball and other shows that fall into that kind of same style, like Regular Show and ow, my leg is cramping. Like Regular Show and Adventure Time and Steven Universe and the Amazing Adventures of Flapjack, the Marvelous Adventures, the Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, So I just didn't see it. I felt like it was kind of a pretender to like what those shows were able to do. But if you're telling me it's good, I'll probably check it out.
Yeah. I mean, naturally, season 1 is when they're still trying to find their footing. But of course, like once you get past season 1, I think it's all great.
Yeah, I'm doing a Gravity Falls rewatch right now. So
Oh,
maybe when
hell
I
yeah.
get done with that, I'll move on to Secret World of Gumball.
Well, it's Gravity Falls. You'll be done quick.
That's true.
In chat, Just Jax's number 3 is Hermione Granger, Harry Potter series.
Yeah, the super smart, very quick on the uptake Hermione Granger, who born in the Muggle world and became more knowledgeable than a kid that literally grew up in a wizarding family in under 3 months. Hermione's incredible. She's a well-written character. She's a fish out of water who just makes the world around her own. I would love to believe that if my daughter's in the same situation Hermione found herself in, would succeed as well as Hermione did.
Yeah. Still faces prejudices growing up still,
Mm-hmm.
but pushes through it all despite it.
Yep. Can agree with that.
Story Loves number 3 is Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street. Amazing final girl.
Yes, Nancy, one of the original Final Girls, thrown into a crazy situation where a literal child predator comes back from the dead to kill teenagers, and somehow she figures out how to handle him.
Mm-hmm.
She certainly lasts a lot longer than Johnny Depp did.
Just finding his headphones just in the dreamscape.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Freddy Krueger's a nut.
Yeah, I've heard him frequently been referred to as a nut. Killed a bunch of kids, just a nut.
He's so quirky. I feel like he gets me.
Deontay's number 3 is June Osborne, Handmaid's Tale. One of the meanest rebels in the most ruthless totalitarian society of Gilead, aka United States. She will drop anyone to protect her daughter.
Have you seen Handmaid's Tale?
I have not. I've read the book, but I have not seen the show.
Okay. Is she a badass in the book too?
Not really.
Oh.
Well, I can't remember. I don't remember much about the book. It's been, I think, honestly, a decade since I've read it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I have not taken the time to watch Handmaid's Tale. It's one of those that, like, I fully intend to eventually get around to watching it, but I'm just not there yet.
I've heard it's good. It's on the list, but
I've also heard good things.
But I've already, like I've said, the list is long, and I've only got so much time.
Yeah. What else we got?
Billy Rhodes, number 3 is Philomena Kunk. I envy her incredible abilities of insight. I wish she was the narrator for the next Civilization game.
I have not watched Philomena Kunk, like her show. What is it? Kunk on Earth.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I have, but I have seen clips of it, and the way that she handles the people that she interviews, and they're like oblivious interview style where she acts like she doesn't understand. It's so well done. Like, she's very intelligent and very quick to like present this in a way that those people continuously think that she's asking serious questions and she's not. And I just love the way she handles it. It's so deadpan. Her deadpan, that's what I'm trying to say. Her deadpan delivery is perfect.
Yeah. I've also only seen clips, so can't say too much, but if the clips tell enough about her style of like showmanship and comedy and everything, then yeah, I would love to see her in more stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Jessica Christian's number 3 is Amanda Waller, played by the amazing Viola Davis, Suicide Squad.
Yeah, Viola Davis does a great job as Amanda Waller. She really embodies that character that kind of like from the screen, from the like animated panel to the screen is perfect. Like, she's very much the Justice League and Justice League Unlimited version of Amanda Waller that we got in the animated series in like live action, and she just plays it so well. It's exactly what I picture when I think of Amanda Waller, and she really like she's right up there with, I think, Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman for embodying a character and not being able to really think of anybody else that should be able to do it, you know?
Mm-hmm. No matter the version of Amanda Waller, nobody messes with the wall.
Yeah.
Ben Stewart's number 3 is Esdeath from Akame ga Kill.
I don't think I've watched that.
I have not either. Actually,
I feel bad.
I've seen the first episode.
Yeah.
That's it.
I've not seen that. I apologize, Ben. I can't speak to that, but if you're saying it, it's got to be true. So, great choice.
Space Boys number 3 is GLaDOS. Portal. I just love her.
Yeah. Even though the cake is a lie.
Cake is a lie.
The cake is a lie. We can appreciate that GLaDOS took the time and effort to, set all those fun puzzles up for us. Ben said it. Okame La Kill. What? Akame Go Kill. It's one of the best animes of all time. It's like 12 episodes or something. Go watch it. I will get out of here right now. Esdeath is so powerful a villain. So cool. I'll check it out. I'll check it out, guys. Jesus, get off my back. I will check. I promise. I'll watch it. My number 3 is from One Piece, a series that you were recently talking about. And Deontay did name the other female counterpart on the Thousand Sunny. It is Nico Robin, the anime goth princess that we all dream of. And she is such a badass. Like, Nico Robin comes in, she's a spy to begin with, and then she's like got this crazy power to like create arms out of nowhere and turn them into bigger things, and like she's just so fucking powerful, and she's a little crazy, which I kind of like. So Nico Robin.
I'm not that far into One Piece, so
It's fine.
Yeah.
There's no way. There is literally no way that you are in any way somewhat of an anime fan and you don't know who Nico Robin is.
I mean, I know a bit about her.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't spoil anything.
Yeah.
Anyway, Landon, what's your number 2?
My number 2, Sarah Kerrigan from StarCraft. All right, story. She starts out as human, a ghost, which is a name for somebody who is psychically like capable in the universe of the game. She gets captured by these aliens, the Zerg. She gets infested by the Zerg and becomes the Queen of Blades that you see before you in that image. And then as the Queen of Blades, she destroys everyone. Like, everyone. She knocks them down to size. And then at the very end, she's more or less just like, I could destroy you all, but I've already wounded your prides enough. Go off, lick your wounds. I'll come back.
Yeah. So like you're alive because I will it.
You're alive just because I don't want to bother with you.
Right.
You're not worth the effort.
Yeah. Wow. That is incredible. I've not played StarCraft.
Yes. It is good. If you try to play it now, you will deal with 90s jank. So that's the only warning I can give you.
Okay. Yeah, I probably won't seek it out. I might just watch like a deep dive video on YouTube.
There are plenty of them out there.
What do we have in chat?
Just Jax's number 2 is Lara Croft, Tomb Raider series.
Hell yeah, dude. Every version of Lara Croft is awesome. Every single one. I've not seen one that isn't. She is a badass. Absolutely. Guns blazing, flipping, kicking ass, exploring tombs. She's
exploring tombs, riding motorcycles,
yes,
locking her butler in the freezer,
killing dinosaurs.
Killing dinosaurs. Anybody could kill a dinosaur as a badass.
Absolutely.
Unless it's the last dinosaur and you're some weird hunter, then go fuck yourself. That's a creature. But otherwise, fuck yeah.
It depends on the dinosaur. There's some cool, some not so cool dinosaurs that I wouldn't want to hang out with. But like, if it's the last Velociraptor, yeah, don't kill it. Yeah, I want that little buddy to run around and be my pet dog.
Yeah. Pet dog Velociraptor. Hell yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hell yeah. Now, maybe not a Utah raptor. Those suckers are huge. Velociraptors, they're like the size of like a fucking Yorkie. They're not big at all.
Yeah. Tiny, covered in feathers.
Yeah.
That'd
Hell
be
yeah.
a perfect pet.
Yeah, it's like a tiny ostrich.
Oh, that actually sounds terrifying. Never mind. Holy shit.
No, I mean a full-size ostrich is terrifying. Absolutely, a tiny ostrich. What's it gonna do? Peck my kneecaps?
Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I got 2 of those.
Story loves. Number 2 is Toriel from Undertale. Badass isn't always given to characters who are kind, pun-loving moms, but she is.
Forgive me, I've not played Undertale. I own it. I haven't played it.
Yeah. Goat mom takes care of you in the very beginning of the dungeon, and then you have to fight her to get past, or take the pacifist route and get past.
Right. I knew there was something where if you take the pacifist route, you don't have to fight her, and then otherwise you have to, like, do you kill her or do you just fight her?
I mean, you can kill her.
You're giving me this look like there's something you can't say because it would be spoiling it.
I mean,
That's okay.
more or less the whole story of the game is that, or the whole mechanic of the game is that you can pacifist past every monster.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
But
part of the
only the
battle
first time.
mechanics.
Right?
Huh?
Damien told me something about the pacifist run is like you can't do it once you do any violence in the game. Like it locks you
Yeah.
out of the ability to have a pacifist run after that.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Anyway,
Deontay's number 2 is Rogue, Comics and X-Men 97. Still has Captain Marvel's powers in the animated series, absolute beast in combat, and when you put the big hurt on Gambit, beware her wrath.
I think that's one of the biggest sins that the X-Men movies did is to never give us a full power Rogue. Is that we only got the power stealing version of Rogue and not Rogue with all of Captain Marvel's powers. Because that version of Rogue is like the super like petite, cute Southern Belle who's the heavy hitter of the team. Like we needed that in live action and we've never gotten it.
Yeah, but then you would have to find a way to put like Captain Marvel into the X-Men movies, and like how are you really going to do that?
Which is possible now, but also in the X-Men universe, there are other characters with analogous powers to Captain Marvel's that she could have stolen flight and super strength from. She could have done it to separate characters that she stole flight and super strength from. Like there were options there that they could have given us a full power Rogue.
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah.
Like they could have just it could have been Phoenix. They could have done it in the third X-Men movie. Which that's obviously a little bit more powerful than what we're looking at with the Captain Marvel powers. But it makes me really sad that we've gotten 2 full X-Men teams and 2 full continuities of X-Men teams. And we got one Rogue who never came into her full powers and then never got a second Rogue. So I'm really hoping that since we're getting the X-Men in the MCU and Carol Danvers exists in the MCU, and there's 2 other Miss Marvels existing in the MCU, as well as Photon being in an alternate reality, there's some options there.
They got options now
to give us the real Rogue.
Yeah. Space Boys number 2 is Princess Bubblegum, Adventure Time. Yes, she is an authoritarian monarch, but also she's so cool.
I would go so far as to say that Princess Bubblegum is like a god emperor. She literally created everyone in her kingdom.
Pretty much, yeah.
She's even higher on the list than an authoritarian monarch. She's literally their god.
Yeah, she's more or less immortal too. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then she's got her hot goth girlfriend. You know, it's like, what a great story. I love Adventure Time.
Billy Rhodes number 2 is Hedy Lamarr, huge Hollywood superstar in the 30s and 40s, and essentially invented Wi-Fi and Bluetooth.
Yes, she does not get enough credit for it. People don't even mention her in the list of like scientists that have done big things. Like you don't hear anybody mention Hedy Lamarr.
Damn. All right.
Yeah, it's like Lucille Ball being the reason that Star Trek exists. Like nobody ever mentions it. Did you know about that?
I probably knew at one point. I just mostly know about her union activities and like also having her huge production studio.
Yeah, she put up her own money to get Star Trek made, to get the
Shit.
first season of Star Trek made because they weren't going to do it. And she was so passionate about the project that she put up her own money to make it happen. So she's literally the reason we have Star Trek.
All right, dang. Another feather in Lucille Ball's cap.
Absolutely. We got one more.
Got one more. Jessica Christian's number 2 is Launch, bad one, of course, Dragon Ball.
The original Dragon Ball, that character is really fun and kind of crazy, and it makes me sad that she doesn't really make any appearances beyond the original Dragon Ball series, because she's like the blonde version of Launch is like a super sweet, like peaceful, like fun-loving girl, and then she switches to the dark-haired version, and the dark-haired version has 2 Uzis and is always trying to shoot everybody, and like she just I believe she gets her if she sneezes. If she sneezes, she changes. So you could be like hanging out with her and you're like super safe, and then like she sneezes and then she pulls out her Uzis and starts shooting at you. Yeah, Launch is crazy. And Billy Rhodes said, although Hetty will sue you if you write a movie with a character named Hedley Lamar. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, my number 2, one of my favorite badass ladies of all time. I've been infatuated with her since I was a wee fella, and that is Wonder Woman. Going back to the original television Wonder Woman with Linda Carter, to the modern day, and especially in the comics, I've always loved Wonder Woman as a character. I think she's an incredible, powerful superhero in her own right, and out of the Trinity, the 3 big heroes of the DC universe, Wonder Woman's the one who will literally fucking kill you if you mess with her.
Yeah,
like Batman's got a no-kill rule. Superman won't fight you unless he absolutely has to. Wonder Woman will take her sword out and run you through if you disrespect her. And she is such a badass, and she has the respect of these 2 other characters, and she has been able to turn because of her staying power and because of how incredible her character is, she's been able to turn her character from what was originally the Secretary of the Justice League, which is what Wonder Woman's first job on the Justice League was, to being one of the big 3. Like, you cannot talk about DC Comics and think about their 3 most powerful characters without Wonder Woman being in the conversation, and I think that's incredible.
Yeah, she her heroism is more so based off of like the ancient Greek ideas of heroes, which weren't people who did good things, but people who did great fantastical things. And like her just being fully willing to murk anybody that gets in her way is part of that sort of mythos.
Yeah. Yep. She went from being like a play on like a demure woman having strength to being like a champion for women's rights and representation. And that's just, it's such a cool idea. And I'm she transcends that like initial like 1950s perspective on women as opposed to what modern Wonder Woman is. Absolutely. Landon, are you ready?
Oh, he's getting lubricated.
Yeah, I gotta warm up the pipes to give me your number 1. I started wrong. It's on me.
Damn.
It's on me. Best I could do.
Damn. All right. My number 1 goes out to the moms of every protagonist. Just every protagonist out there. I have Ash Ketchum's mom here as like a placeholder, but really, protagonist moms have to see their kids go through so much shit, and they themselves have to go through so much.
Yeah.
And I already know some of you are already thinking about the protagonists with bad moms out there, and I'm not talking about them. But I'm talking about those moms that like helped mold them and then have to see them a lot of times just suffer, even die. And like that takes a lot. Being a parent takes a lot, but like that takes a lot.
Yeah. Single mom, and it's hard to, and in some of these, like, especially anime protagonists, you don't necessarily always see the dad around, I'm thinking like Deku. But yeah, so yeah, to all of the moms out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What do we have in chat?
Billy Rhodes, number 1 is Ron Swanson. He won Woman of the Year.
He really did. Yeah, that's hardly the attitude of a champion. Well, I have a championship, so whatever attitude I adopt is the attitude of a championship.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. Story loves. Number one is Matilda. She'd made me believe that if I read enough books, I would get magic powers. And she was right.
Yeah, Matilda is again. I think she falls into that same realm as Mandy. Matilda is so incredibly powerful, and it's Matilda's world. We just live in it. She is nuts.
Mm-hmm. Deontay's number one is Charlie Morningstar, Has-Been Hotel, daughter of Lucifer and princess of hell, the one demon whose purpose is redemption for the souls in hell, providing a rehab for sinners, basically.
I didn't watch the original, but I have watched the new one, and yeah, that character is really cool. But like a optimistic like sweetheart who runs a hotel in hell. I don't know how you manage that, but it's such a well thought out character and a really great show. The voice cast in that is incredible too.
Mm-hmm. I have not seen it myself. Joey has seen some of it. They kind of like it. But yeah. Just Jax's number one is Princess Leia, Star Wars. Poised diplomat, beloved princess, and brilliant strategist. Princess Leia is the brains, the heart, and the strength of the Rebel Alliance. And this is from a Trekkie.
She's also a Jedi, as we learned in episode 6? Episode 8, I think, when she gets blown out into space and then Force pulls herself back into the ship.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. And Carrie Fisher, F in the chat for Carrie Fisher. Princess Leia is a really badass female, and played by a really badass female. Carrie Fisher was incredible. She lived by her own rules and made her way in Hollywood on her own. She refused to be mistreated by directors and producers and such.
Mm-hmm. Ben Stewart's number one is San Princess Mononoke.
Yeah, famously voiced by Claire Danes in the American dub. Princess Mononoke is it is a shared love between me and Ben and our other brothers, and she is such a kick-ass character, and she just like is a straight up fucking menace from the beginning of the movie till the end. Like, you do not mess with her.
No, you do not. Jessica Christian's number one is another DB beast, Chi-Chi.
Yeah, Chi-Chi, especially in original Dragon Ball, she fights Goku to a standstill and then makes him marry her. And then obviously in Dragon Ball Z, while Goku's like off fighting and training and, dying, Chi-Chi's just hanging out at home, raising kids, making sure that Gohan is a fucking genius and teaching him martial arts. Well, Goten. She teaches Goten to be a martial artist on the level of Goku and Gohan in her spare time while cooking and cleaning and, doing the farm work and all of that stuff. Chi-Chi is, a fighting champion in her own right. And it, carries a lot of weight in the Dragon Ball series.
Mm-hmm. Space Boys number one is my mom. She had so many kids and always made us feel loved and worth existing.
Hey, way to go, Space Boys mom.
Sean Lohman's number one is Marie Curie, discovered radiation.
Yeah, Marie Curie, uranium. She discovered uranium, right?
Radium.
She
lived by the radium and she died by the radium.
Yeah. Well, you can't handle radioactive materials. Spaceboy, I do want to say, I almost put your mom on my list too. Honorable mention for Captain Janeway and 7 of 9. Yeah, the Borg.
Yeah.
And Janeway, yeah, Janeway is awesome. But anyway, and my number 1 to round out the list. Jess Jax has an honorable mention of Jubilee from X-Men. Mine also comes from the world of X-Men, and that is Laura Kinney, X-23, the daughter of Wolverine. Also a Wolverine in her own right. She's very much in the vein of how cool Gwen Stacy is. X-23 is incredible. She's been through a lot. Super traumatic existence up into getting free from the Spaceboy said, that's so funny because I almost made your mom as my number 1 too. My mom is number 1. But X-23, obviously, if you watch Logan, played by Daphne Keane, she makes an appearance in Deadpool and Wolverine. Also badass in that, but in the comics, she's incredible. This is actually X-23's mask right here that I made for my daughter Emma. Because we're a Wolverine family and we always will be, but it's just an incredible character and one of my favorite introductions to the Marvel canon. There's a couple variations of the X-23. There's also Honey Badger, which is a younger clone of X-23, who's pretty cool. And then there's like a cybernetic version, and they're all over the place. There's a million Wolverines, but literally one of the most badass characters of all time. I should have picked this out beforehand, but our hit list for next week. If I said 5 favorite characters that think they're him, would that make sense to you?
5 characters that think they're the protagonist.
Yeah, but they're not.
Yeah, but they're not. Yeah.
Yeah. So next week on the hit list, it is 5 characters that think they're him, or her, or them. But yeah, so we'll do that next week. And for this week, this has been the hit list. Landon, we went over 2 hours. God damn it!
I told you.
It's all your fault. I blame you.
It's probably partially my fault.
You're supposed to keep me on track.
What am I supposed to do?
I don't know. I guess make aggressive eye contact with me. Of course, then I won't know if you're hitting on me or trying to direct how quickly I should get out of a segment. Could I have an example of that, Vegeta? Let's see. Another example. Someone who thinks they're him. God. A lot of mine are anime because like Hercule or Mr. Satan. Story Love says set a timer. I'm just joshing with him. I'm not trying to get this show any shorter. We just do what we do. It's the Wild West over here. We just make the show we make. Dwight from The Office. That's a great example. A character that thinks he's him. Yeah. Michael, I think, would also be a great character to name.
We go as long as we have stuff to say.
Yeah, Usopp. Again, an anime. Billy doesn't watch anime. Starscream. There's a great Transformers reference. Danny and Landon might throw their own Diddy party tonight. No, but you can catch Cutting Edge Hero After Dark on our OnlyFans. You can see the link for that on our Instagram. But Spaceboy, what's a Diddy party? Do you not look at the news at all? Anyway, I think, I don't know, Billy, if those are good examples. I hope that they are. It's just someone that's oblivious to the fact that they're not the main character, basically. They think they've got protag energy and they've really got, side character energy. But anyway, so for this week, that is us. Story Love also asks the same question. What does that mean? Thinks they're him. Okay, good. You got my explanation. Billy said, I'm figure it out. Fantastic. But anyway, for all of Cutting Edge Hero, I am super excited to get to do the show. I'm super glad you guys were in the chat. We had a great time tonight. I appreciate each and every one of you. Butt pats all around. Ben, I'll see you in the human relations office later. But just super appreciative of you guys. Really enjoy having you here, and thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to get your tickets to Cape Con November 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. We've got some incredible guests lined up, some incredible stuff to do with you guys, and we're going to have a great time. Landon, do you have anything to say to the nice folks?
Like every week, thank y'all for coming out and talking in chat and just listening to what we have to say for over 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's always delightful.
Absolutely. I have a very short attention span, so I don't blame anyone for dialing out halfway through this whenever we rant for 2 hours and something about, just the shit we're passionate about. But thank you guys so much, and we'll catch you next time.
See y'all.